Okay, to continue on the story, okay, I was a sailing instructor at Barrington Yacht Club, and my father had purchased one of the first large fiberglass racing yawls, Block Island 40. So that we worked really hard on that as a family. Uncle Howie putting in all kinds of time on this boat because we actually put the interior in it ourselves. We did an awful lot of the work, and my father's goal was to be ready to race it to Bermuda in 1962. Now, I was only 14. Okay, my birthday is July 30th, so at the time of the June Bermuda race, I was only 14 years old, and so, but my father allowed me to come along as part of the crew. So we had won a lot of races with this boat, okay, and we were predicted to be one of the hot boats in the Bermuda race. And my father was very good at navigation. He was an incredible sailor, and we were expected to do real well. But when it comes to sailboat racing, you never know. And we headed out, and we're doing really well. And the wind went absolutely calm one day, 24 hours on the way to Bermuda. The cigarette smoke would stay straight up. We didn't actually move. There was no wind whatsoever, and what we found out later was some of the boats never totally ran out of wind like we did. So we did all right, but we didn't even come close to winning because of the flat spot that we ran into. So then I came back and was asked to be the sailing instructor again at the Barrington Yacht Club the next year. So I kept getting better and better, and with that money I was earning at the Barrington Yacht Club, I was able to buy a good set of sails. My sails were originally at least 20 years old, the ones I was racing with before that. So my former brother-in-law, Bob Peck, okay, suggested that I'd get North sails from California, and they were, for a young kid, that was a lot of money. It was $300 back in 1962. So, but I saved up my money again and was able to buy the sails for this boat, and had them shipped from the West Coast. In fact, what's interesting, North went on to become an incredibly popular sailmaker with lofts all over the country. And when I called in 1962, okay, I talked to him personally, and he gave me a mainsail that had a little oil spill on it, and they couldn't ship it out to anybody else because one of the sewing machines had spilled a little oil on it, so he gave me a deal on it. So anyway, so then I'm for the first time competitive. Then in 1963, teaching sailing at the yacht club and winning quite a few races. The kids really, I was teaching not just sailing, but I was teaching racing at the Barrington Yacht Club too. So the kids, because I was winning, especially winning in the International 110 class, they really listened to me. And at that time, I had 7 assistant instructors, and who were junior high school age, and about 80 students. Well, I found out later that one of my assistant instructors, Jay Mosier, okay, got so excited about 110s that after I was out of the class, that he went on to become the national champion. One of the students that I taught became the national champion in international 110s. And he's still out racing in the West Coast now. So that was the same year I graduated from high school. From there, I went to the University of Rhode Island for a year. I was on the sailing team there, and we did okay that year, but we didn't have a great year. So now I sold the boat for I think it was $1,395. That was enough to pay for my first year of college, which I paid my own way through college. So from there, I decided it cost me a lot less money to transfer to Barrington College and then commute from home. So I did. I spent a couple of years at Barrington College to get my enough credits and everything to get into Massachusetts College of Optometry in Boston. The plan was for me to become an optometrist like my father and go into a going practice, and my father was really looking forward to that because he and I had always done a lot of things together. At that same time that I sold the 110, the next summer my father had the 40-foot yawl. So I decided that another nice fun way to make money would be to charter the boat from my father from Monday through Friday so he could race it on weekends, and I would start a 5-day live on board, learn to sail cruise. And to my knowledge, I was the only one in the world doing a 5-day live on board cruises. They had teaching and everything, but not where you lived on board. So anyway, it was very successful. The good Lord blessed it in an amazing way that didn't occur to me till afterwards, that we hardly ever went short any students, and in a particular week we never had too many either, because being new to the advertising business and advertising in yachting magazine and sailing magazine, you never know quite how much to spend on your advertising. But it worked out really well. Everybody had a good time. Now they had to put up with my cooking. That was the only thing that I was, when you're the captain, the cleaner of the head, plus the chef, there's only so much time for the cooking going on. But anyway, nobody got sick from my cooking. They all survived and had a good time. In fact, we had some very interesting people in this sailing school. I had John Grosvenor, who was a hunchback, and his family owned, National Geographic, the very famous Grosvenor family. On one cruise, I had the head of the Canadian Space Program, R. Keith Brown, and he was a very modest man. And he said, okay, basically we in Canada make up the satellites and everything, and then you in the United States shoot them up for us. One cruise, I had a Russian and a Lithuanian on the same cruise. The Russian was a blue-eyed blonde architect for Dunkin' Donuts, and you would never have any idea. He spoke perfect English and was, very much of a gentleman. It was his job to go into areas like New York City, pick out a location for a Dunkin' Donuts. Now keep in mind, this is back in the 70s. Pick out a location for a Dunkin' Donuts and then oversee changing out this particular location to a Dunkin' Donuts. On the same cruise with him, and Russians and Lithuanians don't necessarily get along, but I had a gentleman by the name of Charlie Kagan. He invented the beeper. Now this is way back before cell phones, and when doctors had to be contacted or something, they were contacted by beepers. And he had sold it out to, I forget, one of the big companies. He'd made so much money that he was planning on going sailing the rest of his life. Charlie Kagan. So over the years, had lots of interesting students. Now, at the second summer in the sailing school, I unfortunately, at the end of the summer, I got a bad case of mononucleosis. Very bad case, where I could just barely speak. They thought they might have to do a tracheotomy on me because my throat was so bad. I had, I was making so much money and everything. I pushed very hard, even to get through the last cruise. I had no idea I had a bad case of mononucleosis. By the time I could just barely walk off the boat at the end of the last cruise, yet I was to head back to optometry school in Boston and take 36 credits per semester with mononucleosis. And I tried, and I just couldn't do it. It took me too long to recover from the mononucleosis. I was just, very sick. I had pushed much too hard, going 7 days a week without resting and everything. And, you know, and I was really sick. So at that point I had to have a change of careers. So the sailing school business was going so well that I decided I was recovered enough the next summer to continue the sailing school, and I decided to, go into the sailing school business. It doesn't pay the bills, it's only, a summertime thing, but still, it was a wonderful way to get to know people, because one of the things we did on the 5-day cruise is each Monday evening, we would sit around the table after dinner, and I asked each person to tell me why they were there, what they were trying to get out of the cruise, and to tell everybody around the table a little bit about themselves. That way, everybody would kind of connect together and everything, know the other people, because these are strangers. There's 5 strangers. The boat slept 6. So there were 6 of us, all for the first time together, sleeping together, sailing together, but it was a very fun time.